In 2012, there was an event that shocked the whole of Australia. A young girl named Jill Meagher disappeared on the streets of Melbourne while walking home late at night. As soon as it became clear that Jill Meagher was the victim of a crime, many people took to the streets to express their outrage and demand justice. This event made everyone think about their safety. Jill Meagher's case was an important moment in Australian history, showing how people can unite and fight for justice. Jill Meagher was born on October 30, 1982 in a small town in Ireland. Her childhood was spent in the village of Turman Pecan. When she was 9 years old, the family moved to Perth, Australia, where her father got a job. There, Jill finished school and returned to Ireland in 1996. After returning, Jill attended Drogheda Gymnasium and St. Oliver's Community College before earning a Bachelor of Arts degree from University College Dublin. After graduating, Jill took a job with a major broadcasting company. That's when she met Tom Meagher, whom she married in 2008. A year later, they decided to move to Melbourne, Australia. There, Jill got a job as an administrator at a radio station and occasionally appeared on the air. On the evening of September 21, 2012, Jill and her colleagues decided to visit the Brunswick Green Bar on Sydney Road. After a busy evening, the company decided to take a walk and check out another bar on the same street. Around 1:30 a.m., Jill left the bar and headed home to her husband's house. On the way, she called her brother Michael to discuss her father's health, who was ill. Jill's concern was obvious, and her brother decided to get the whole family together for the upcoming holidays. Around 2 a.m., Tom, Jill's husband, woke up and realized she still hadn't come home. He became worried. Tom called her cell phone, but Jill didn't answer. He went in search of her. Tom walked all the streets and didn't find her. At 4 o'clock in the morning, Tom decided to call the police. The cops went around the neighborhood interviewing random passers-by, but no one had seen Jill. Her co-workers, with whom she had spent the evening, told the cops that they had last seen her leaving a bar on Sydney Road. They said goodbye to her, assuming she would return home soon. In the morning, the police combed the town thoroughly but found no evidence. In the morning, Jill's co-workers decided to use social media to intensify the search. They tweeted about her disappearance and created a Facebook group called Help Us Find Jill Meagher. The news of her disappearance quickly attracted media attention. Flyers were posted everywhere in Melbourne with information about the missing woman. As a result, public attention to the case skyrocketed and thousands of people followed Jill's fate from day one. Tom gave an emotional speech to the reporters, which drew even more attention to the case. On the same day, police officers began a thorough analysis of the video recordings from street surveillance cameras. They examined hundreds of minutes of footage taken at various locations around the city in stores, at intersections, at gas stations. There was only one tape in their possession that captured Jill. This footage was taken by a camera located near the bar where she said goodbye to her friends and headed toward her home. Police officers scrutinized each frame, looking at the surroundings and possible clues that could help in the investigation. They carefully compared the video footage with other footage, trying to identify additional details and possible witnesses. This phase of police work was an important step in the search for Jill. On September 24, a street search led to the first lead. Jill's bag was found in one of the alleys near her home. This find helped police focus on a specific neighborhood. On September 5, police found Jill in one of the videos outside a bridal store at 1:42 a.m. The footage was recorded 12 minutes after she left the bar. The video shows her talking to a suspicious man wearing a blue hoodie in the middle of the street. The same man was filmed outside the store 4 minutes earlier. One of the recordings shows him running in the same direction as Jill. Police also tracked the geolocation of Jill's phone and found that it was traveling on a major thoroughfare in Melbourne that evening. This indicated that the phone was in the vehicle. Law enforcement began reviewing camera footage from cameras on that highway. Thanks to the phone's geolocation data, they were able to rule out many cars passing through there that night. Given the time and route of the phone, they quickly determined that its movement matched the route of one of the vehicles. When police checked the license plate number of that vehicle, They were shocked it was registered to an offender with a criminal record for violent acts against several women. On September 27, police announced the arrest of 41-year-old Adrian Ernest Bailey. According to police, he abused Jill Meagher and took her life. Despite the fact that the police did not disclose details, no one hoped that Jill could be found alive. In a private briefing for journalists, the police only stated that they were confident of solving the case. As soon as the name of the suspect was announced to journalists, the biography of Adrian Ernest Bailey became the subject of intense scrutiny. Adrian Bailey worked in a candy store and had 4 kids by 2 different women. He got married when he was 18 because his girlfriend was expecting a baby. Later, the couple had another child but split up after 6 years. Shockingly, Adrian faced charges of mistreating his girlfriend and 2 attempted assaults on others when he was just 19 years old, leading him to prison. He got a 5-year prison sentence but only served 22 months after being released on parole. Adrian remarried in 1995 and had a son and daughter this time. However, he was accused of violence again in 2000, but the court couldn't prove him guilty. A few years after that, he was imprisoned for 11 years following his conviction for victimizing 5 girls. After Bailey was arrested for Jill's murder, police questioned him for hours until he finally confessed. He said he killed Jill Meagher in a dark alley on Hop Street and then led the police to where he hid her body. The location was in the Black Hill Street neighborhood, on the outskirts of Melbourne. He claimed he saw Jill outside a bridal salon and attempted to kiss her, but she hit him. He brought her to a dark alley and committed heinous acts, ultimately ending her life. Afterwards, he became extremely scared and cried. He drove back home, but then returned to the crime scene with a shovel. He buried Jill's body on Black Hill Street. During the arrest, the police found out that Bailey was on parole when he committed the crime and should have been monitored. This caused outrage among the public as the judicial system failed to prevent a dangerous criminal from being released. To honor Jill Meagher's memory, a procession was held on Sydney Road, which turned out to be much bigger than expected. On that day, 30,000 worried Melbourne residents marched. This demonstrates how deeply Jill's tragic fate affected people and received extensive community backing. Jill's folks, also in attendance, conveyed thanks to all present and aspire that this awful incident will compel the authorities to prioritize women's street safety. Jill Meagher's funeral was held on October 4 in a private ceremony. Given the enormous attention to this story, thousands of people could attend the ceremony, and the family wanted to bid her farewell in silence. Bailey's trial started on April 5, 2013. Everyone assumed he would deny his guilt and try to avoid punishment. However, during the first hearing, he completely confessed his guilt. The last hearing was on June 19, where the judge sentenced him to life imprisonment. Bailey may have the possibility of parole after 35 years at the earliest. 3 investigations led to Bailey being found guilty of several more violent crimes against 3 women by March 2015. He did all these crimes before attacking Jill Meagher, but only after the case was made public did the victims report to the police. The court gave Bailey an 18-year prison sentence in May 2015. He may be eligible for parole after serving 43 years. Even though his lawyers were successful in challenging one of his previous offense charges, Bailey cannot apply for parole until he reaches 80 years old. After the trial, new information about Bailey's life was revealed. According to the offender, Bailey experienced abuse from an adult woman when he was a child, and his father frequently resorted to physical punishment. Additionally, Bailey has been diagnosed with borderline personality disorder, which causes extreme mood swings and difficulty controlling anger. The court did not consider these factors and did not decrease Bailey's jail term. In November 2020, Bailey's mother gave an astonishing statement in an interview. She said that she reached out to the police multiple times to alert them about her son's dangerous behavior. However, the police completely ignored her and disregarded her attempts to bring attention to Bailey's threat. This caused a public uproar and raised concerns about a system that failed to safeguard society from a potentially violent man. After everything that happened, the Victorian officials made the parole laws stricter. This incident made it clear to all Australians that the system can be unjust. These changes made it possible for an offender to go back to jail for minor violations and much harder to get out early. Even the prominent politicians acknowledged their failure to help Jill Meagher. Share your opinion on this story in the comments.